channel. My name is Stasia and I'm following a high carb, low fat, plant-based diet. My channel is all about my plant-based weight loss journey and helping you with yours. Okay, so a couple of days ago, I shared a really personal story about how I lost 65 pounds and cured my mystery illness that the doctors couldn't figure out. If you didn't get a chance to see that one yet, I highly recommend watching that one first, as today's video is a follow-up to that one, and I will be answering a lot of questions that I got in the comments and just going into a little bit more detail. So if you'd like to watch that one, I will post the link in the description box below. In the first video, I go into great detail about what happened to me, exactly how I feel that I got there, and what I did to get better. So I highly recommend checking that one out and then coming back to this video. And I just gotta take a second to touch on the comments. Thank you guys for all of your encouraging words. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with me. I have read every single one of them and I plan on responding to every single one of them. I'm with you guys. Never give up. There was a time I never thought I would feel better, and here I am. So if I can do it, so can you. I can relate so much to what some of you are going through. I feel your pain. I feel your frustration. I hope that my story continues to inspire you, and I hope that my channel will continue to inspire you to follow a high carb, low fat, plant-based diet. I've received a lot of questions since that video, so I thought it just made sense to follow it up with another video answering some of those questions. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a quick recap for those of you who might be seeing this for the first time. Again, I encourage you to go watch that first video if you haven't already. And just to recap in general, for those of you who might forget what exactly happened to me. Okay, so in a nutshell, I went to bed one night feeling completely healthy, absolutely nothing wrong, and woke up the next morning feeling the sickest I had ever felt in my life. That followed by a whole slew of new symptoms that lasted for the next following 2 years. I have the same list from the other video, so I'm just going to quickly read down the list. Just as a refresher, I suffered from extreme bloating. We're not talking the normal bloating, we're talking like 7 to 9 months pregnant, whole pant size up bloating. Very painful. I had chronic nausea all day. It just never went away. I felt like anything I ate, it didn't matter what it was, fruits, vegetables, anything, it made me sick. I suffered with dizziness, like I needed to pass out, plus like vertigo. I had weakness, muscles felt heavy. I suffered from extreme fatigue, extreme chills. I just could not get warm. I had sores in my mouth, loss of appetite, unexplained huge black and blue bruising on my legs, alternating diarrhea and constipation, painful cramping in my stomach, shots of pain like enough to take my breath away, ringing in my ears, headaches, numbness, tingling in my limbs, mucousy bowel movements, dry skin patches all over my body, mostly on my legs, acid reflux, heart palpitations, heart racing, and I just felt sick whenever I ate anything. I had multiple tests done. It got to the point that the doctors were even suspecting cancer. No one could help me figure out what was causing me to be so sick. I did not see the light at the end of the tunnel at any point. I just always felt like this was my new way of life. It definitely affected, my role as a mother, my role as a wife. Yeah, it really took a toll on my personal life in so many ways. So I guess you could say that I was desperate. I was desperate to feel better. I was desperate to feel normal. And because the doctors couldn't help me, I made a very firm decision that I was going to try and help myself. I cut out dairy, I cut out gluten, I cut out all processed foods, all refined sugar, basically what I teach now. And I also started to do juicing. I talked a lot about this in the other video, and you guys have some questions regarding that. So today I'm going to be answering some of those. I know that there's a lot of controversy over juicing, but that's not my business. All I know is what worked for me. I am a firm believer in green juicing. Again, we're not talking about juicing a ton of fruits, and of course that's normal. Your blood sugars are gonna spike if you do that, but we're talking about fresh extracted green juices. I believe that my daily juices, along with eating a very whole food, plant-based diet, is what healed me. So on that note, I'm gonna answer some of your questions that you guys had regarding the juicing. The first one was, what kinds of fruits and vegetables did I use when I was juicing? So one of my main juices that I had every single day, it had celery. I would say probably about 5 or 6 ribs of celery, a whole cucumber, kale or spinach. I would do maybe 3 or 4 big leaves of kale. I would use about half a lemon, about an inch of ginger, and 1 whole apple. I had that specific juice every single morning. The thing with juicing though is that it's much like how we eat our vegetables. They say eat a variety of vegetables because we get different nutrients. It's no different with the juicing. So that was just one juice that I like to use. I like the taste of it, and it was, mostly a green juice. But I also juiced other things. So sometimes it was just whatever I had on hand. Carrots, despite the sugar content in them, are an extremely healing thing to juice. There have even been cases of people curing cancer who drink large amounts of carrot juice. So carrots are very, very gentle and healing on the stomach. So I also juiced a lot of carrots, sweet potato, that could be mixed with an apple. I juiced cranberries. What I'm going to do is put together a few of my juices, and I will post those in the description box below, the exact ingredients that I use for those juices. I always had my juices first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, and it was literally the only thing I could drink or eat that I could tolerate that did not cause me any bloating whatsoever. And not only that, you will find if you do start to juice, there's such thing as, it's called like a juicing high, and it's a real thing. You will find that you will have so much energy. I said in my last video, it's like you drink a coffee or something, but without the crash. And it seriously gives you so much energy. Even when I wasn't feeling well, I still felt these little like boosts, like my brain would just open up and I had clarity, and I just had this like surge of energy after drinking a juice, and there was no crash. I just felt good. Okay, so another question is, what is the difference between juicing and a smoothie? Are they equal, or are they about the same thing? The answer is no. So there's a big difference between juicing and smoothies, especially for people who have a very compromised stomach. For me, smoothies and salads, they used to be the death of me. They were one of the worst things that I could eat that would cause me a lot of digestive upset. So there's a big difference. So with juicing, you're actually removing the fiber from the fruits and vegetables, and it just becomes a liquid that you drink, and it immediately absorbs into your bloodstream. So you're getting all the nutrients without your stomach having to break food down. As I said in my last video, it's not so much you are what you eat, you are what you absorb. So if you have a compromised stomach, you can be eating healthy food all day long, salads, everything else, and still be getting sicker, because if your stomach can't actually break down that food and properly assimilate those nutrients, you're doing yourself no good. So I found with juicing, it was able to give me this boost of nutrients that I was lacking because I was having a hard time eating, and even when I was eating, my stomach was not breaking it down properly. Whereas with the smoothies, anytime I attempted a smoothie, oh my goodness, my bloating would be completely insane. The same with eating a raw salad. The same goes for trying to eat a lot of grains and beans. There's just too much fiber. Now, it is normal when you first start transitioning to a whole food plant-based diet to experience some bloating, because there's an overload of fiber that your body might not be used to, especially if you're coming off the standard American diet. But I'm not talking about that kind of bloating. I'm talking about extreme, severe, painful bloating, going up a whole pant size type of bloating that didn't go away with using the washroom or passing some gas. Like, it was extreme bloating. That's not normal. So that is your body's way of saying that something is out of balance there in your stomach, right? So when you have foods that have a lot of fiber in them, it's very, very hard on your stomach to break that down. So when you focus on foods that don't have so much fiber, then it's a little bit more gentle on your stomach. So that's why juicing was so perfect for me, because I actually could not tolerate all the fiber. So the juicing removed that while I was still able to get the nutrients in to heal my body. So another question was, what kind of juicer did I use? So I can't rave enough about these products. No, they do not sponsor me. Yes, I have an affiliate link that I will make a very small percentage if any of you use that, with no extra cost to you, of course. But regardless, I will promote them forever. So I am a huge fan of Breville juicers and the blender. I just find that they are the best budget company out there. Juicers and blenders can get quite expensive, and I have done my research, read thousands of reviews. Yes, I'm one of those people late at night on my phone going through Amazon reviews. Like, I can spend a whole evening just reading reviews. but I just found with the Breville ones, they are just the best ones, hands down. So the juicers run about $200 or so, same with their blender. But the quality and the durability is just amazing. Like I mentioned, I do have the link to my exact juicer in the description box, but in all honesty, I'm such a fan of the company in general that even if you don't get that exact one, just do your research on any of the Breville juicers and I feel like you will probably end up being satisfied. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on from the comments, I had someone mention that they would love to start juicing, but they can't afford the juicer. One suggestion for that would be to purchase a juicer secondhand. The thing about juicers is that a lot of people will have a juicer that just sits in their house and collects dust. Let's be honest, right? They had good intentions, they got motivated, maybe they heard about juicing somewhere, and then it just sits there. So there are actually a lot of people who sell juicers that have hardly been touched at all. So there's a very good chance that you could get lucky and find a secondhand juicer for a very good price. In Canada, we have Kijiji and the Marketplace. That would be good options to check. I'm not sure in the States and anywhere else what you guys have, but I'm sure there's something like that you can just browse those places and probably find yourself a pretty decent juicer. And again, even if it's not a Breville one, any juicer will do the job. Another thing I want to mention that I did along with juicing first thing in the morning was I would consume the juice immediately as well. So I didn't make my juice in advance and leave it in the fridge. I would make my fresh juice and drink it as fast as I could just to get those live enzymes in. So if you have no other choice and maybe you're going to work and you have to juice in advance and you can't get to it later, that's okay too. But if you do have the option to drink it right away, then do so, because those live enzymes are really what's going to help in your healing. Another thing I wanted to reiterate based on one of the comments that I saw was that this was not a juice fast that I did. This was daily juicing. So the difference is that with fasting, you just exist on juice alone for a certain amount of time. You don't eat any food, you just juice. I did not do that. I have never done a juice fast before. So what I did was I included daily juicing into my diet along with eating my regular food. My reason for juicing in the first place was because I couldn't actually tolerate eating any fruits and vegetables, especially if they were raw. And I knew in my heart that the path for healing was in eating fruits and vegetables. So it was a complete roadblock for me when I'm like, how am I supposed to get better if I can't eat fruits and vegetables? So insert juicing. So I figured out a way how I could get the fruits and vegetables in my body without causing my body and my stomach all kinds of distress. So I just wanted to be clear that it was not a juice fast that I did. I just included daily juicing. So another one of the questions in the comments were, do I still juice? So the answer is yes. I don't juice every single day like I did before, and certainly not 3 times a day, but I do shoot for about 3 to 4 times a week to get that juice in. As I talked about a little bit before too, I know that that's not a recommendation of Dr. McDougall's and many other plant-based doctors. They seem to not be in favor of juicing or smoothies, but for me, it was my personal experience. So I know that it was a huge part of my healing. So I'm going to go with what worked for me and just trust that. Juicing has also been amazing for my children because I can't get them to sit down and eat a huge salad as I would love to see them eat. And even with the green smoothies and stuff, I can sneak the kale and the spinach and stuff like that in some of the smoothies. But as we know, some of those greens can have a really strong taste. And I just find when I put them in the juicer, the kids have no idea. I can throw anything in the juice and they love it. So it's been a phenomenal way for me to see my children get a ton of nutrition in their bodies. So because of my experience with juicing, I feel like I will always include juicing somewhere in my diet. I've firsthand seen the healing powers of juicing, and I just feel like it's kind of like an insurance policy for both myself and my children's health. My brother also had chronic health issues and started daily juicing, and he has been completely healthy for now, I think about 2 years. So, and these were health issues he had his whole entire life, and they are unheard of now. So I don't think it's any coincidence that he healed himself and I healed myself, and he was doing the same thing as I was. And today he's extremely healthy with no health issues at all. So another question was, how fast did I lose the weight? So I had lost 65 pounds in 8 months. And again, like I touched on in the last video, I truly believe that that was half due to the fact that I was experiencing chronic nausea, so it did make it very difficult for me to eat. And then the other half was because I cleaned up my diet. I was eating pure junk food before I got sick. And when I got sick, I eliminated all processed food, all refined sugars, all meat, all dairy, all gluten, completely whole foods diet. So to me, it's a no-brainer. That's also why I lost 65 pounds in 8 months. 2 more things that I thought might be important to share with you guys. Even if it could help one of you, that would be fantastic. So I just wanted to touch on something called SIBO. Someone had also mentioned that in the comments. I'm very, very well aware of SIBO. It's SIBO. Anybody who's experiencing random extreme bloating, nausea, chills, all of these types of things and having a really, really hard time digesting their foods, I encourage you to Google SIBO. It stands for small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. It's something that I heavily looked into myself. I had a lot of the symptoms that it suggests. So that could also be possibly something that if you're experiencing any kind of digestive issues, that you could look into that for yourself as well. Another thing to kind of go along with SIBO is something called FODMAPs. It's an acronym for a lot of big words that I'm not about to pronounce, but something that you can certainly Google too. So it's FODMAPS. I really encourage you to do a quick Google search for SIBO and FODMAPs because those things could really, really help you. So the last thing that I want to talk about is something my mom actually reminded me about before I hopped on camera to make this video. And she had suggested me sharing this with you guys as we both found it as such an interesting piece of information we had never heard of before. So one time when I had went to the hospital, I was suffering with the nausea, extreme bloating, chills, just not feeling well. The doctor there ended up saying that they're starting to see a lot of people admitted for these symptoms, gluten and dairy being the top offenders, but there was a third one I had never heard of, and it's sorbitol intolerance. Sorbitol is an artificial sweetener. It can be found in a lot of sugar-free products. And one of the most common products it can be found in is chewing gum. So what I found interesting about this was that I was actually chewing a ton of gum, probably a pack a day. I know, crazy, right? But I was. And I remember because I was just starting to date my husband around that time. And I was like, oh, I always want to have fresh breath, you know? And so I always had gum on me. And so when the doctor said that to me, I said to my husband, I said, you are not going to believe this. Like, he was saying that this is something that is becoming increasingly a problem and that they're starting to see is that they have this sorbitol intolerance. So the reason for that, it's like a foreign invader to your body. It doesn't actually know how to process and how to digest it. So what happens is it just continues to build and then creates a whole host of issues. And basically, they had sent me home with a pamphlet about sorbitol intolerance. And again, I had never heard of this in my life, and I found it so interesting because I had a lot of the symptoms that they were saying that sorbitol intolerance causes. And again, sorbitol is found not just in chewing gum, it's found in many, many, many processed products. From that day forward, I stopped chewing gum for many, many months to come. Now I can tolerate having the odd piece like a normal human being here or there. It's no problem. It doesn't cause me any issue, but certainly something I'm aware of. I will never forget that doctor saying that to me. And just, I found it so interesting that that's something that they said that they're seeing a rise in that. My mom was right that I should share this information with you guys just in case that could be helpful to any of you. So I hope this video cleared up a lot of curiosity and questions from my last video. And one last thing that you guys asked is if I could do some juicing videos showing how I juice and what I juice. If there is enough interest, then I am more than happy to do that. So just be sure to leave me a comment below and let me know if that's something that you would be interested in seeing, and I will for sure do that for you guys. I just wanted to let all of you guys know I get every single comment. I take the time to read them all. If I don't respond, it's just because sometimes there are a lot of comments and I'm actually not on social media all that much despite having a YouTube channel, but I just really don't have the time to be on there a whole heck of a lot. But I certainly do try Better late than never. I will get around to the comments. So I just wanted to say that I really, really appreciate all of them. And I really, really appreciate all of you taking the time to write to me. Helping people has always been a very natural passion of mine. So I will always give my time to help you if I can. I really hope that my story can inspire any of you who are still suffering with pain or not feeling well. I was there. I would be crying myself to sleep nightly. I was terrified for what my future held or didn't hold. So I completely get it. But I'm sitting here today, completely healed, 100%. I can tolerate anything I want to eat. I can now eat the healthiest diet in the world, which is a whole food, plant-based diet, as you guys know. And it just took healing to get there first. So please don't give up no matter where you are at. Healing doesn't always happen as fast as we might like it to, and just keep in mind that we don't always see the healing that is actually taking place inside. So it could be right around the corner for you. So just keep going. I just want to say thank you so much to all of you watching my videos and supporting my channel, and I will look forward to seeing you guys in the next one.